I always had a bit of an issue with companies that were creating these synthetic plastic-based clothing that were using the word fleece in their name. We're going to get that word back, that our brand sort of resonates with people that are looking for gear that lasts, that doesn't fly to pieces in 5 minutes.
Welcome back to another episode of a Kiwi Original. Today on the show, I'm joined by Carl Uren from True Fleece, a company that goes the extra mile when it comes to merino wool. And they don't just sell the wool, they do some interesting things with it so that us as Kiwis and consumers can really enjoy the product they make. So first of all, welcome to the show, Carl.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah, looking forward to it.
So tell me, what does True Fleece, the company, what does that name mean? Because there's obviously some work that's gone into the naming process. Where did that all come about from?
Yeah, so we started the business 2 years back, sort of initially making merino jerseys for our school, for our kids and for school kids and that sort of thing. It sort of developed over about 2 or 3 periods to where we felt like we sort of needed to rename ourselves. And went through a bit of a naming process where we did some stuff via Facebook, where we sort of had a competition running to come up with some new names, and we ended up sitting on True Fleece just for a few reasons. Obviously, fleece is something that's associated with wool and with sheep and all the rest of it, so it was sort of a bit of a sort of throwback to using that word again, which has kind of been left out of marketing, we felt, with wool products. And I always had a bit of an issue with companies that were creating these synthetic plastic-based clothing that were using the word fleece in their name. I think it was pretty clever of them to do that, because it kind of gives you the impression that you're buying some sort of a natural product when you hear the name fleece. So I guess it's our way of taking ownership of that name back off those synthetic clothing brands a bit.
I'd never actually thought of that. You're right. Like the fleece had become something that was associated with non-natural products for a while.
Yeah. Well, it has been for, right back when I was at school, probably 25 years ago. Polar fleeces were really common, and they still are today. And that word fleece, they used that because it was familiar to people as some sort of a warm product. And so now, like I say, we're sort of going to get that word back to where it belongs, where it's associated with something natural and renewable, and merino wool is the perfect match.
So in terms of what you're seeing and what you believe, describe what a True Fleece product should do when you're wearing it. What should it offer you that alternatives don't?
I think we've been sort of pretty clear on where we want our brand to sit in the market. Like we're not sort of going for that real fancy sort of high spec stuff that's sort of full of unnecessary sort of design features and zips and pockets and seams and all sorts of fancy stuff. We're sort of trying to keep it pretty simple and functional, almost a bit old fashioned probably, but that old phrase, they don't make things like they used to. I guess that's something that we're trying to sort of again sort of take back, that our brand sort of resonates with people that are looking for gear that lasts, that doesn't fly to pieces in 5 minutes, and there's just all that traceability stuff is all ticked off. So when people want to know where it comes from, they can link it right back to the growers and the manufacturers, and so that's a big part of what we do.
So let's spend a little bit of time on actually the fibre itself, because I don't think a lot of people know that New Zealand isn't the only country in the world that creates merino, right? There is other places that can create merino fibre. Is there any difference between what New Zealand creates with its New Zealand merino versus overseas alternatives?
Look, fundamentally, I guess the same. Merino wool is fundamentally the same between countries. I think what sets the New Zealand merino apart is the ZQ program. So they, like farmers are made to go through this pretty strict or tough process to make sure their wool meets certain standards and their animals or farms or certain standards. So all that criteria that ZQ expect of farmers is not really found anywhere else in the world. And I guess that's where the value of buying products like ours that have come through that ZQ process through New Zealand farmers, that they can guarantee they're getting a product that is of the highest standard. So you can certainly source merino from elsewhere, but it won't be at the same consistent high quality that ZQ provides.
Right, okay, that now makes sense. So that ZQ Merino tag isn't just for True Fleece, it's for any manufacturer that wants to say, hey, this wool fibre has come from, it's New Zealand Merino, it has gone through this quality process, it is ZQ Merino wool. What does that mean to the end product? Like if you didn't have ZQ Merino wool, does the jumper fall apart? Does it get holes quicker, or does it just not last as long? What are some of the things that maybe an overseas alternative might get affected with down the line?
Yeah, it's just that consistent quality. So it's just that consistent quality of fibre. So that when you're choosing fleeces or choosing the wool that goes into your product, it starts right back at when the sheep get shorn. When the wool classer puts the different sort of types of wool off the different parts of the fleece into different parts. So only the best parts of the fleece end up in use in this sort of super soft, hard wearing merino. And they're really particular around the micron. So the micron is basically the thickness of the fibre. So the thicker the fibre, the coarser it will be, and then therefore the rougher it will be against your skin. So if you have a really coarse, high micron fleece, like a crossbred sheep, which might be around 30, 35 micron, that thickness is no good at all against your skin. So it's just really rough. It's what you use on carpets and things like that. But with merino clothing, you want it, the finer you can have it, the better, but it's got to be also strong. So that gap of around that 18, 19, 20 micron of wool is where we get our wool in those specs. So we know it's super soft against the skin, but it's also hard and durable.
It seems to be there's a lot of technical specifications there that you've mentioned of how this product's got to be right to actually create the product you want for customers. When, Carl, did you get into this, or at least when were you interested to go down this path to create True Fleece as a business?
Yeah, well, I think it just started with our kids when they were little. We always dressed our kids in merino gear, to wear the beard and just general clothing when they were babies. And then when they started school, when our eldest daughter Annabelle started school, we just couldn't find something that was suitable for a school uniform type of style of jersey, and didn't want them wearing polar fleecy plastic stuff to school. And so we were just like, oh well, we'll go and buy some merino from a material shop. And then Tori's mum just made the first jerseys for the kids to wear to school, and she made big long dressing gowns for the wee toddlers that were scooting around home that wanted something full length. And it just sort of grew from there, really. We just other parents saw our kids wearing merino jerseys, and then they wanted one, and then other schools, and it just sort of grew pretty sort of organically with no real. We didn't really have a real sort of vision long term for it at that stage. It was just a bit of a something we did, which we thought would benefit our kids, and it just grew from there.
What a super cool story when you're basically scratching your own itch of what you want to do to make sure your kids are warm at school, and you've got the right skills to be able to make the clothing and apparel that are going to fit with what the school wants too. When did it shift? When did you kind of sit down and go, oh, okay, this is actually bigger than what the day job is, and maybe we've got something here. Maybe we should put a name on it and actually think about producing these at a little bit more scale. What was that moment like?
I guess it just evolved. There wasn't like a big sort of a light bulb moment. It was more of just a sort of almost an evolution of sort of of growing. We had so much stuff you have to get organised to get it to go. So I think once you get all your initial little steps in place, which just take time. You have to be able to source the wool, you have to source the manufacturer, you have to source the fabric. There's all these steps that you have to sort of tee up to be able to scale it. And I think once we realise that we could do all those little steps, we could make a garment, we could ship them out, we could do all those things. Then it was just, well, how do we make it grow? And I guess the obvious thing was just going into some e-commerce stuff where basically you've got a shop that's open 24/7, and you've just got to drive people to it. And then when they get there, you've got to have products that are appealing. So it might sound simplistic, but that's basically the guts of it. So I think once we realise all those things that come into play, once we realise how to achieve them all, then you can start to see what's possible. But it's kind of hard to sort of see through all the issues because there's lots of them, lots of hurdles to get going. But yeah, once you realise what we have, we can ship this product anywhere in the world to anyone at any time, and it stores on the shelf for a long time. It obviously doesn't go off. There's all these factors which make it a good product to be able to sell and then ship, and then demand worldwide for this sort of stuff is just growing all the time. So I think all those factors.
You're certainly riding a wave in terms of natural fibres and ethically produced apparel that can last longer. And I think what I took from your website, browsing through truefleece.co.nz, it's just really, it's simple to browse. And on top of it, you've got some really simple story attributes there to talk about the ethical nature, the sustainability. Then you go away from kind of the broad umbrella parts to, okay, this is what this product can do for you. And then another part I wanted to ask you about was the school uniforms, Merino school uniforms. Are there schools in New Zealand that actually outfit their whole school or recommend that their students get a Merino element for, like, what is it, part of the uniform? Is it sports, or where does it sit in the school ecosystem?
But the school stuff we do is majority of it is just trying to get kids in schools away from wearing those polar fleece sort of mass-produced tops, and into or offer up an alternative for parents that are looking for something made in New Zealand, obviously, and all these other things that tick their box. So we're not saying everybody must do it. We're just trying to get it out there as an option for parents that are looking for something natural, homegrown, homemade, other than polar fleece, plasticky gear. So that's so most of it, all, but that's not all of it, is just their outer layer jerseys the kids might wear on top of their t-shirt or whatever they wear to school, and that's pretty much what we sell to schools, so a few beanies and things. But that's the majority of it, is the outer layer stuff. Yep.
I wish we'd had it in my day. I remember going to the science block was okay. The D block, it had insulation. It was a new block. But whenever we had social studies in the B block, there was no insulation. It was freezing, and you had to wear your outdoor jacket inside. So it was almost like this sort of kind of outdoor adventure. We were in school class, and I was thinking, back to it now, how rudimentary it was. And I hope that's not what the kids that students now have to put up with.
Yeah. I'm pretty well out. They've definitely got heaters in their classroom. I think they'd be we'll be hearing about it if they didn't. I think so. But so that's the goal. We probably do about 50 or 60 odd schools around New Zealand at the moment, and it's growing all the time. And I think it'll get to a point where we just are kind of filling the needs for all those families that want a natural product. So it's like I say, we're not forcing it on anybody. It's just completely optional, but it just gives parents the choice if they want one.
So it sounds like you've got the school market ticked, covered off within New Zealand. You've got the website set up. You've got the story on there. You've got the products that are available. You can ship anywhere worldwide. The challenge then, once you've got all those things in place, is how do people find out about you, right? Because there's lots of different ways you could invest your time and energy and get your team onto Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, or maybe it's email, or it's existing customers referring friends. What's that process of growth been like? Has it been quite, you said before, quite organic? Is there areas where you make some bets and place some investment in sales and marketing?
Yeah, so that whole process again has been a big old learning curve, I guess. Like I don't think we didn't really understand it at all when we started. As far as what was the time and effort that goes into getting a brand from where we were, which was unknown, to somewhere where you are known and where people can find you. So learning all that process has been pretty bit of an eye opener, to be honest. It's pretty vast, the amount of options that are available to companies as far as what they choose to do. So I think we've probably made a few wrong decisions in the first year or two around how we approached that. In hindsight, we thought we were doing the right thing at the time, but now we use my younger sister Kate. She does all the sort of visual stuff for us, I guess, and she's got a pretty experienced background with dealing with some big brands in London, Auckland, around the place. So she's going to bring her experience from those big brands into the little brands, and without blowing the budget, which has been valuable, to say the least.
So that explains a little bit of it. So Kate is part of the secret sauce of why the brand looks so consistent online. And you just said, taking that big brand experience to a small brand, you end up being a big brand because you're doing all the things that a big brand would do from the start.
Yeah, but we're not spending a fortune, So that's been a big shift, I guess, for us, is getting all that brand image and look and feel being consistent. So wherever you go, wherever you see us, that's what we are. And before that, we sort of just did. Tori and I will just do it ourselves, and it was just hard to get a plan together and be consistent because we're trying to do everything else as well. Whereas Kate's job now, it's just that's her thing is marketing. So anything you see pretty much from True Fleece on the website or social media goes through her. So she, we are card as a team, but she's the one that produces the final visual for everyone to see. So having that part of it's been. We before we knew what we wanted, we just didn't know how to get there. So she's been able to help us get there. She's been a big asset for us.
Sorry to interrupt. This won't take long. Subscribe to the show, and you'll never miss another one of these amazing episodes. Right, back to the show. I think what you've shared there is, for the audience who is in business, particularly manufacturers who are really good at making products, it's a completely different skill set to get it to market in a brand consistent way. And it's not immediately obvious exactly what that new person or agency will bring in until you see it. And once you see it and your customers see it, you see yourself differently because it's shown in a way that you knew you wanted to be, but you just, as you say, you couldn't quite get there in the same way that you got immediately there or pretty close to it when you're actually producing the products. And I think they're two different skill sets. One is manufacturing a product to a very high quality standard, and the other is getting that product to market in a very high quality brand standard. And I'm yet to meet anyone that is legends of both categories. Usually we all fit in one or the other.
Oh, look, it's exactly right. It's just getting yourself to a point where you're large enough that you can give someone that role. Because as a startup, you've got to do everything on your own. You got to do the whole job yourself. And there comes times throughout your growth where you are able to outsource those roles to different people, because you can't do them on your own. So the key, probably the failings that we had were probably around bringing the wrong people in at the wrong time. We sort of went with someone's advice, and used that person, and they ended up leading us down the wrong path for 6 months, and then it takes you a while to work out you're on the wrong road, and then you got to come back and go somewhere else. So those steps in that first sort of 1 to 5 years are other way. That's the big thing, being able to adapt, and not be too stuck in your ways, and bring those right people in at those times is huge for growth and for ongoing success. Yeah.
And it's the audience has to want to see that brand look the way that you're intending it to. I mean, I've also met manufacturers that have still got a website that was launched in 2004, and they do very well. It's business to business, and actually I talked to one and they said, look, if we did all of these things, which we could do, we've got the capital to do it, I fear that my customers would look at it and go, maybe they could have shaved cost rather than upgrade their brand presence. But it really does depend on the sector.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it depends on where you are in the market. With merino clothing brands, there's definitely cheaper ones. You can go to the warehouse and buy what is sold as merino clothing, but which is completely different than what we do. So if we're gonna sell a product that is higher value, there's got to be a reason for that. So all that comes down to customer experience. Right from when whatever they see, it's got to look cool, it's got to feel cool. It's got to be durable. So all those things that go into creating value in a product, as a consumer, you want to expect to experience those through your journey when you're buying something from someone. So we don't want people to pay top dollar for our product and then 6 months later it falls to pieces. That would be defeat the purpose. So that durability is real key in the quality of your garment or of your product. So you can't sell something rubbish and big top dollar. So and that experience goes right through from your website to how you package your gear out to people. It's got to be something that sets you apart from everybody else that just post their stuff out in a plastic bag because it's the cheapest way.
100%, and it's too often missed in e-commerce that when you don't have the retail presence, what are all the other touch points you've got, from packaging to the note to everything else, that you can do to share that brand story as you go? Because it's a highly competitive marketplace, and people, when they're buying apparel, they're usually buying a better version of themselves. They want to not just stay warm, they want to say something about themselves to other people or to themselves, to say, this is me, I belong to this brand. What was it like with have you got to a stage where some of the other merino players are starting to look and going, oh, okay, True Fleece is becoming a bit of a contender here? How do you just kind of stick to your own lane and not look at the competitors, or is everyone looking over the fence to see who's being ranged where?
I have no idea whether we're perceived as a threat by the big brands or not. We don't even, it doesn't really come into our thinking. I don't think. We probably just go about doing our thing and sort of stick to what we think is important. I guess we're always looking at other brands and seeing what they do, but we don't take too much notice. But we don't want to appear like we're so we definitely look at them, and maybe if they look at us, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know whether we're big enough for them to concern themselves with us or not. But I think for us and our brand, we look at our, whenever we buy something online or we make a purchase or we look at other clothes or whatever, I just always think, well, is that a good experience or a bad experience? What did we like about that, and what did we not like? And then you work on the things that you did like, and make sure you don't do the things that other brands are doing that especially on those premium products. If you buy something expensive and it arrives in a plastic bag with no branding and no message, no nothing, to me you're kind of disappointed, because you want more. That's part of what you're paying for. So we make sure we do what we think is something kind of unique-ish, and try and enhance that customer experience and make people feel like they're buying into a bigger thing other than just buying a garment.
Did you notice any change in behaviour through the COVID-19 levels of how people were purchasing online?
Yeah, well, for us, we did it like we've probably never been so busy over the last couple of 2 or 3 months with I think with people being at home and had more time to be online and we're looking for New Zealand made products and still are. We'll get 2, 3, 4, 5 inquiries every day from people and their only question is, are your products made in New Zealand? They don't want to know anything else. It's the only thing they want to know. And then we'll certainly say yes, they are, and just let them know where they're made and whatnot. They're straight online buying something. So it's right up there at the moment for New Zealand consumers, I think, anyway, around where that products are coming from and where they're made is obviously important. But that New Zealand made stuff is really taken off. I think for the smaller brands like us, it's going to be a real leg up. Yeah.
I think you're going to be riding a wave. It's something that you've probably prepared for a number of years, but it's that time where Kiwis are looking to support our own and wearing something, knowing that you're supporting local. There's no stronger message, and I think post-COVID, for those that can't travel, that maybe would have gone to the south of France or to America or Hawaii or Bali or Sydney, what do they do? Like, where do they go? You've got to see your own country. But a lot of our really good bits are really cold. Like I did the Kepler trek in December, middle of summer. I'm 3 or 4 layers deep. When you get to the top part of that mountain, you need Merino. And if you want to say something about yourself when you're out and about, even just in town, wear something that's a little bit different that maybe someone else hasn't got. And they'll ask you, where'd you get that? Oh, this is from True Fleece. And here's why I got it. So I think through winter, over the next 3 or 4 months, it should be a really interesting time for you.
Oh, look, it's definitely been busy for us. Obviously heading into winter is always a bit of a pickup in sales, obviously because it's getting cold. But it's probably 300% higher or better than we thought it was going to be during the same period year on year. So and it's continuing on. Really, to be honest, it hasn't really let up. The growth's been great for us. It's just trying to manage it all now for us. We're sort of bringing more people and outsource fulfillment and those other roles that we've sort of been able to handle at home before, but now we can't. So just add another person to bring in that makes you or enables you to scale. You can't do everything. So that fulfillment side of it is something that Tori's done religiously every day for a long time and is now outsourced. So it certainly takes the pressure off your a bit, which is most relieved.
I know the feeling. We at NZ Made did the same with stickers and labels. Outsourced them end of Jan for the first time in 30 years. And you just give it to the experts at that particular part of your business, and it frees up. It may only free up like an hour a day or 2 hours at the end of the day rushing for the courier, but it frees up your mind to then think on the business. And I don't know whether Tori shared that with you, but it takes away a kind of a daily, it's always in the back of your mind that, hey, we've got to get the things out today. But if you can just email them along or get your CRM to send the orders, you've solved one more scale issue.
Yeah, again, like I said, just another one of those steps in your growth that you have to take at some point, because you can't do everything, but you've got to do everything you can. So there's a fine line between trying to do everything and then doing everything a bit half-baked. So it's that's been the big focus, I guess, for us in this business as well as our farming business is to trust others to do the roles that you've done yourself so long, because I think most people have this sort of no one does it as well as I do sort of an attitude, So being able to outsource that and let them do it their way, is important for them and for your ability to grow. Yeah.
It's finding the right people, isn't it? And then being able to trust yourself enough. It's one of my biggest weaknesses is I know I could do some things better, but actually getting it 90% of the way there, sometimes is enough, or knowing that 90% for that particular area frees you up somewhere else to then perform at 100%. And when you're in a growth and scale, it's a very different problem. And I'd say you're quite fortunate right now to have what I call luxury problems of too many sales. I mean, there's a lot of businesses out there who are on the opposite of that. How have you adjusted post-COVID? Your sort of short to medium term plans. Do you kind of just take every day as it comes, or are you doing what a lot of apparel brands do and prepare for that kind of October to December peak? Or what's the story?
I think so like over the whole COVID period, we've probably had inquiries from just about every continent around the world, from expat Kiwis wanting to sell our gear as part of a bigger business they might have. Just as one example, we've got a guy in China who goes around those big fairs and markets over there selling New Zealand wine and Manuka honey. He just wants to add a New Zealand Merino product to his stuff that he sells. So there's him. There's probably 4 or 5 others that are looking to bring our gear to new parts of the world. So I get my focus, is trying to sort of work through all the detail around those. Like initially those ideas sound like, why would you not do it? But sometimes when you work through them all, it's just not as simple as what it first sounds. So trying to work through all those, I guess, as a focus as far as the direction we go internationally, whether we even want to, like whether we need to or want to, do we need or want to be a big, international company? And I don't know whether we do. At the moment we don't, but who knows? It's so no real exact plans on that. But the market in New Zealand is big enough now for us that we actually don't need to sell anything overseas to make our business successful or viable. So I think the focus is doing everything we can in New Zealand to get it right and just grow our customers and continue doing what we do. And then in time we can pick and choose what we do internationally. There'll be, if we get presented with 5 opportunities a month, we might only take one. So that'll be that luxury, I guess, of doing what we've done. But that luxury is about from hasn't disappeared through good luck. It's hard work and all those things, all those cliches that sort of go into a successful story. So if we can pick and choose the ones we want to do, then we'll be in far better shape.
You're absolutely right to take your time with those, because that investment in international distributors or resellers or partners can go right and wrong the same way as when you hire someone internally for your marketing or for your sales. It just means that the costs are magnified because you've got these international connections to go with it, particularly currently. It just reminded me of a chat I had on episode 30 with Lily Ma from Fine Logi. She's gone down a similar tack to the Chinese company you're speaking about, and now offering businesses that are New Zealand made a channel to market in key China cities where the business doesn't have to invest on their own. So there is that opportunity to collaborate through with other businesses. It's about getting that trust there, and then deciding, for a business like yours, do you really want to do that when you actually have to give up quite a bit of margin and then scale the business, and then you've got this kind of big operational cost thing that can swing. Whereas if you've just got a nice domestic base of customers that you can keep introducing new products to, that can be just as lucrative. What products would I start with? If I was to go into True Fleece, what should I be buying from you?
Look, to be honest, we don't have something that is sold far and away more than anything else. Everything we make, and again that goes back to our sort of design or the way we're trying to build our brand, is we're just making garments for the sake of making garments. So we just try and make things that have got a purpose or a reason for something. So you might be, you might just like this thing that I've got on your head now. Like you can wear this literally to, as a farmer, you can wear it to work in, but you can also go to the local pub on a Sunday night and have a meal with your family, and so there's that type of thing. And then there's also the thing where, if you want to go out on your mountain bike or a run or something, you can buy something that fits the purpose for that too. So like I don't know. I think everyone just has different needs and wants, and we've just tried to, like I say, keep it simple and not make it complicated. So if you're looking for a jersey, you can go and buy a jersey. You haven't got 10 different jerseys to choose from and 50 different colours with, it's just here's the jersey, that's going to do the job, I'll have a navy one, so it just makes it nice and simple, and uncomplicated, yeah.
Sounds like my kind of shopping. Well, I have to have a little bit more of a detailed shopping look rather than a research look for our chat.
Yeah.
Before we finish up, Carl, is there anything I haven't asked you or anything you want to cover off in terms of True Fleece, NZ Made, the team, anyone or anything else that I may have missed?
Yeah, no, look, it's all good, really. Just I think just for us and our how we've got to where we've got to and where we're heading, it's just all about getting those right people involved. Like it's all very well Tori and I or me or whatever having ideas, but it's being able to take those ideas and make them happen. And you can't do that on your own, and so just having those people involved in your business that help you do all those things to make it a success, I think, is probably something that we're really learning as we're growing. Is just so vital to our success for the future. So that's probably the big just a big thanks to all our team that does what they do. Yeah.
I think that's a really nice note to end on. It no business would be successful without the team and the people performing their roles, and particularly through tougher times, getting people in that go that extra mile can really make a difference. And I think what you're doing is great, to have a New Zealand made brand Merino that's starting to really show its stuff both domestically and selling internationally enough that you've got Kiwi expats taking an interest. That's a really exciting place to be, and so I look forward to tracking your journey over the next few years and see where you get to, and hopefully this podcast and video makes its way to the right people across our NZ Made fan news feeds, and maybe gets the digital till ringing for you with some sales to come in.
Yep, awesome. Thanks very much for having us, and we'll talk again one day, I hope.
Sounds good, Carl. Thanks very much. This has been a Kiwi original brought to you by the New Zealand Made team. Thanks for watching. The New Zealand Made trademark is used by over 1,200 businesses in New Zealand. The New Zealand Made team licenses that trademark. Check if you're eligible at bynz.org.nz. If you feel that someone should see this, share it with them now. Otherwise, subscribe to youtube.com/bynzmade, and we'll see you on the next episode.